When I received my measly 6,800 yuan bonus, I was having dinner with our 120 most important partners. When they found out that my bonus was this pathetic, even though I handled all their services, the dining table grew incredibly tense. Meanwhile, my colleagues were spamming our group chat, bragging about their 150,000 yuan payouts. I finished my dinner calmly. 7 days later, my contract expired, and I walked away, leaving my boss screaming practically through the phone. Why? Why did they all pull their funding? Rewind to 7 days before my contract. The dinner was held at a luxury hotel downtown, surrounded by the power players of Chuanka Network, the 90% revenue lifeblood controlled by 120 key partners. I was the sole person managing these crucial connections. Raising my glass, I effortlessly drifted between tables chatting with every familiar face. Many had worked with me since my very first year on the job. Our connection went far beyond simple business. Director Chen, the purchasing head of a massive domestic conglomerate, patted my shoulder, speaking earnestly. Chen, you have to run our new project next year. I do not trust anyone else. Do not worry, Director Chen. I smiled. As long as I am here, your projects are my priority. Suddenly, my phone buzzed violently in my pocket. I excused myself to the restroom, but slipped into a quiet hallway corner to check WeChat. The company group chat was exploding with festive red. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Thank you, company. My 150,000 yuan bonus is in. Let us crush it next year. That was Li Na, my colleague who mostly just formatted my reports and added her own name. I got 150,000 too. Mr. Zhang is the best. Hard work pays off. Screenshot after screenshot of those 150,000 yuan payouts felt like silent slaps across my face. Expressionless, I scrolled past the blinding red and opened my mobile banking app. A fresh transfer notification was waiting there, amounting to 6,800. No cents, no blessings, just a cold, hard number, like a pity payment for an intern. I stared at those digits for a full 10 seconds. No anger, no disappointment. The final flicker of expectation in my heart died right then, leaving nothing but numb ash. I put my professional mask back on and returned to the table. Beside me, Director Chen was clinking glasses and his elbow nudged my phone. I quickly woke the screen to lock it, but that 6,800 figure must have caught his eye. His brow furrowed almost imperceptibly. Setting down his glass, he asked casually, Chen, your company crushed it this year. Your bonus must be huge, right? Your colleagues online look ecstatic. I met his gaze directly and calmly gave him the number. 6,800. Instantly, the entire roaring table fell dead silent. Within a second, all conversations died. The bosses sitting closest had heard me. Their expressions shifted from shock to disbelief, and finally to quiet, simmering outrage. They knew that the person providing them round-the-clock service, the literal lifeblood of 90% of our revenue, got a measly 6,800, while nameless office backliners walked away with 150,000. The insult was obvious. The silence grew heavy, but I stood up calmly, raised my glass, and flashed a polite smile. Thank you all for your support this year. I will drink to that. Cheers. I downed it. The burning alcohol scorched my throat, as if trying to incinerate years of exhaustion and tolerance. I quickly steered the conversation back to next year's market strategy, keeping things strictly professional. The clients began exchanging quiet, knowing glances. The dinner wrapped up early, and the guests filed out. Director Chen walked out last. He paused beside me, his sharp, experienced eyes looking deep into mine. Whispering so only I could hear, he said, Chen, you are being wronged. This place is not worth you. Call me whenever you want out. Warmth flooded me. I nodded. Thank you, Director Chen. I went home to an empty apartment. For once, I did not open my laptop to tackle endless client emails. Instead, I brewed a cup of tea, feeling no anger or sadness. When you check out completely, emotions become a useless luxury. I opened my laptop, bypassed my inbox, and created a new file named Handover List. I began methodically cataloging everything. Every workflow, every client file, every project blueprint. My mind was frustratingly sharp. Then I looked up at the wall calendar, at a big red circle marking a date 7 days away. Beside it, I had written, Contract expires. My eyes were cold, like a general ready to press the launch button. I opened my phone and pulled up a recruiter I had added a month ago. They had asked if I was looking, and I had replied, Stable for now. I deleted that and typed 5 words. I am ready to talk. 6 days left. When I walked into the office, the air was thick with cheap, sickening excitement. Everyone was glowing from their massive payouts, talking about European trips or buying new cars. Li Na strutted past me in bright red high heels, flaunting a designer bag with a blindingly huge logo. She stopped right by my desk, letting the bag rest on my desk. Total impulse buy, she sighed dramatically. Honestly, it is not even that pretty. What do you think, Chen Qing? Without looking up, my eyes stayed glued to my handover document. It is fine, I muttered. Her smile froze, but she quickly raised her voice to rally the office. Girls, to celebrate our record year, afternoon tea is on me. Order whatever you want. Cheers erupted. Everyone swarmed her, frantically picking out drinks on their phones. Their loud laughter turned our quiet workspace into a crowded market. Not a single soul asked if I wanted anything. I sat there like an invisible ghost, completely shut out of a celebration I had paid for. At 3 p.m., our boss Zhang Wei walked in, his signature beer belly leading the way. Clapping his hands, the room went quiet as everyone stared at him with adoring eyes. We crushed our goals this year. This unprecedented success belongs to every hard worker in this room. His voice boomed. He beamed at Li Na and the other highly rewarded staff. I always say, Chuangke never turns its back on a true hustler. As long as you give it your all, the company sees it. Next year, let us double those payouts. He painted his grand visions, but his shrewd eyes perfectly avoided my desk. It was as if the person who brought in 90% of his revenue did not exist among those he deemed worthy. Once he finished, Zhang Wei gestured for me to follow him. He closed the door, his booming smile fading into a solemn, patronizing look. Chen Qing, do not read too much into the bonuses. I know your contributions are massive, and we recognize that. Holding my mug, I stayed silent and let him put on his show. But understand this. Your success is built on our platform. Without Chuangke's name, why would those big clients even talk to you? Li Na and the others might not have your raw drive, but they do heavy lifting internally. He resorted to his classic manipulation, trying to grind me down, saying my tiny bonus was a strategic decision. He told me I was young and needed to see the big picture. Keep this up next year, and you will get the biggest slice of the pie. I nodded, showing just the right amount of grateful submission. I understand, Mr. Zhang. I will keep pushing. He smiled, satisfied that his perfect workhorse was completely tamed. Leaving his office, the sound of giggles from Li Na and the others drifted from the break room. I walked past them blankly and sat back down. Those malicious words buzzed like annoying flies, unable to stir any emotion in my heart. I opened an encrypted folder holding a 50-page document titled Core Client Relationship Deep Maintenance. This guide was more than contact details and basic contracts. It mapped out complex corporate hierarchies and the personal preferences of key decision-makers. It was the culmination of my years of hard work. This was the true lifeblood for keeping all 120 clients happy. I calmly encrypted the core chapters and uploaded them to my personal cloud. Once finished, a heavy weight lifted off my shoulders. Just then, Zhang Wei stepped out of his office, beaming as he announced, "Great news, everyone. We just landed a new project, and the client specifically asked for our absolute best team to lead it. Chen Qing, this project is all yours." Every eye in the room turned to me, some filled with pure malice and gloating. I looked up at Zhang Wei's arrogant, smug face, completely unbothered. I rejected him right there. "Sorry, Mr. Zhang. My contract expires in 6 days, so I cannot guarantee this project's continuity. For the client's sake, you should find someone else." The entire office fell into dead silence. On the 5th day before my departure, the quiet was shattered by a frantic phone call. Huasheng Group, our largest and oldest client, suddenly experienced a massive critical bug that completely shut down their production line. Our technical team spent 2 hours scrambling but remained totally clueless. As the nominal account manager, Li Na was getting shredded over the phone by their tech director. She could only stammer that we were working on it, unable to answer a single real question. Finally, Huasheng called my boss, Zhang Wei, directly, coldly issuing an ultimatum that demanded my immediate involvement. They warned him that if it was not fixed in 2 hours, they would cancel the contract and sue for damages. Zhang Wei turned pale. Huasheng accounted for nearly 20% of our annual revenue. Losing them meant financial ruin. Sweating with panic and swallowing his pride, he rushed over to my desk and begged me in a voice more desperate and humble than I had ever heard before. "Chen Qing, their system is down. Please fix it now." The entire office watched us, their expressions a mix of shock and envy. Without demanding anything or playing games, I calmly closed my laptop. I put on my headset and connected to their server. Zhang Wei and the developers crowded behind me, holding their breath. Li Na stood at the back, her face twisting with bitter jealousy as the screen displayed rows of fast-scrolling code. Armed with 5 years of experience managing their system, and having anticipated this exact loophole during the last upgrade, I instantly located the bug that our team had completely missed. They had no grasp of the system architecture, making it impossible for them to spot the error. My fingers flew across the keyboard debugging, restarting services, and clearing caches in one smooth motion. An hour later, I pulled off my headset and told Zhang Wei it was fixed. Right then, my phone rang. It was Huasheng's tech director. Chen Qing, thank you so much. You are an absolute lifesaver. Our production line is finally running again. He breathed a massive sigh of relief, then lowered his voice with a suggestive tone. Honestly, brother, a brilliant talent like you is completely wasted at this company. You deserve way better. I just smiled. With the crisis averted, Zhang Wei breathed easy. But the way he looked at me had shifted. His relief was quickly replaced by something else. It was fear and resentment. He realized that I, the quiet employee he had always pushed around, held crucial power he could never control. Sensing this, Li Na quickly whispered in his ear, "Boss, do you think he held back on purpose just to blackmail the company and force you to negotiate terms?" This venomous suggestion fit Zhang Wei's paranoia perfectly. He preferred suspicion over reality. He could never admit his own management was the problem. His glaring eyes filled with deeper hostility. I didn't care about their mental drama. My job was done, so I printed out a document. I placed it gently on Zhang Wei's desk. "Mr. Zhang, this is my official handover list. Please review it and designate my successor." He picked it up, flipping through the pages quickly. It only listed the names of the 120 clients, standard contracts, and basic contact info. My core playbook, filled with deep relationships, key contact maps, and soft skills, was completely absent. It was a procedurally flawless document, yet utterly useless for daily operations. 4 days before my contract expired, Zhang Wei made his move and officially assigned my handover duties to Li Na. This was his petty display of power, a childish way of showing me that my core role could be easily replaced by his favorite employee. Clutching that barebones list, Li Na strutted over. She sat down opposite me, as if holding a royal decree, her chin held high. "Chen Qing, go through the list and explain each client's specific quirks and personal preferences. Tell me what they like to hear and what annoys them." Her tone felt more like an interrogation than a professional handover. I calmly pointed to the first entry. Huasheng Group, Procurement Director, Chen Jianhua, contact number 139-666-888. This is public data. The contract terms are here, and special requests are in Appendix 3. "I don't care about that," she snapped. "I want the inside scoop, the unwritten details. Like, what kind of tea does Director Chen prefer? What are we supposed to discuss over dinner?" I looked up, meeting her gaze calmly. "My responsibility is strictly limited to sharing the standardized corporate assets on this list. The personal relationships I have cultivated with clients are mine alone. My personal rapport and communication skills are my intellectual property, not company assets." Li Na's face flushed with fury. "You are deliberately sabotaging this transition." "Chen Qing!" she shrieked. "Don't think you are untouchable just because you are leaving." Her shrill voice echoed through the quiet office. I leaned back in my chair, showing my sharp edge for the first time. "Which part of my handover document is confusing to you?" I asked coolly. "Or is it that your professional capability is too low to comprehend standard client profiles?" My words struck a painful nerve, highlighting her sheer incompetence. Her face turned pale, her lips trembling without a single comeback. Around us, my colleagues began to whisper to each other. Some gloated at her public humiliation, glad she finally met her match. Others thought I was being too reckless, openly attacking the boss's favorite simply because I had one foot out the door. Seeing things spiral out of control, our boss, Zhang Wei, finally stepped in. "All right, everyone. We are all colleagues here. Let's keep it professional." He walked over, attempting to mediate. Turning to me, he spoke in a patronizing, fatherly tone. "Chen Qing, be a team player. Li Na is just doing her job. Share your secrets with the team for the company's sake." I stared at his hypocritical face, barely holding back a laugh. "Mr. Zhang, true experience is built firsthand. If she needs me to teach her how to talk to clients, then I suggest the company reevaluates her suitability for this role entirely." My words cut through her facade like a sharp knife, exposing her utter lack of value to everyone. Zhang Wei's expression darkened completely, and a heavy, suffocating silence fell over the office. Right in the middle of this tense standoff, my phone buzzed softly in my pocket. I looked down. It was a message from Director Chen with an elegant job offer from a brand new firm. My designated title was senior partner, and the salary listed was jaw-dropping. It was a figure I had never even dared to dream of. Locking my phone, I met Zhang Wei's icy glare with absolute peace. I was officially done playing their games. On my final day, I spent the morning clearing out my desk. All my personal belongings were packed neatly into a single box, and I completely wiped my personal data from the computer. I left nothing behind except the company-issued phone and monitor. It was like I had never existed here. A few coworkers drifted by, offering empty, polite words of farewell. Yet, their eyes betrayed their true thoughts. No one was sad to see me go. They just wanted to watch me fail, convinced this tech geek was nothing without their platform. You'll get thrashed by the real world and crawl back, missing your days at Chuanke. Lina sneered, crossing her arms next to me. Oh my, some people think they're so special. Without Chuanke backing you up and taking the fall, let's see you try to act tough in front of clients. I ignored her, smiling as I shredded the last file. That afternoon, Zhang Wei called me in one last time, patronizing me from his massive office chair. Chen Qing, though you played dirty this time, you've worked hard here for years. I won't hold a grudge. Our doors are always open to you. Of course, your pay would be renegotiated. He thought he was throwing me a lifeline. I just gave him a polite smile and murmured, Mr. Zhang, I hope you'll still be smiling after I'm gone. 5:30 p.m. arrived. I grabbed my box, scanned my fingerprint one last time, and left without saying goodbye to anyone or looking back. Under their mocking and sympathetic stares, I walked out of the place I had given my youth to. Meanwhile, in the executive suite, Zhang Wei's phone was blowing up. Hundreds of clients were terminating contracts, refusing to work with Chuanke even for better terms. All because of one thing, my departure. Panicking, Zhang Wei squeezed his phone until the screen protector cracked. Quick, get Chen Qing back here. On my first morning of freedom, I woke up to birds singing instead of an alarm. Jogging in the park, free from Chuanke's toxic cubicles, I felt like a new person. Even the air felt crisper. Looking at my reflection in the lake, I felt no unemployment anxiety, only the quiet thrill of being in total control. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out to find messages from a few close colleagues from the tech department, even though I'd left the main group chat. Are you really gone, Chen? Huasheng is screaming for updates. Li Na is throwing cups, and Mr. Zhang's face is dark as coal. My contract was up, so I left. You guys will have to hold down the fort. I closed the app, a cold smile touching my lips. I knew Chuanke's structure too well. It was a castle built on sand, and I was the keystone. Removing myself took away their entire technical foundation. It also stripped away our clients' trust. Right now, their office must be in utter chaos. Lina was likely staring blankly at my old desk, a complex spreadsheet. She used to just sign papers and collect bonuses, but now she couldn't read a single line of code. What is this? Why is this API broken? A developer shrugged nervously and muttered, That's Chen's custom integration for Huasheng's old system. He never documented it. It's all in his head. Sitting on a bench, watching the sunset, I smiled. Zhang Wei, this is just the beginning. Watch closely, as your precious platform crumbles without its real engine. By day 3, I was lounging on my couch, reading a recruiter's industry report. Just as I predicted, Zhang Wei cracked. My phone buzzed with his name. I let it ring for 30 seconds before calmly picking up. Hey Chen, enjoying your break? You left so fast, we didn't even get to throw you a proper farewell dinner. I should make it up to you. Don't bother, Mr. Zhang. I prefer the peace and quiet. Silence followed, then his heavy breathing. I knew he was drowning in angry client complaints. Chen, about your bonus. There was just a calculation error by our finance team. I scolded them. Come back tomorrow, and I'll personally give you 100 to 1,000 bonus and a senior director promotion. Deal? Listening to his hollow promises, I felt nothing but disgust. He really thought he could buy me back that easily. If Huasheng and other major clients weren't pulling out, he'd never have called. I hung up and immediately blocked his number. He thought I was cheap labor who'd wag my tail for a bone. He didn't realize I'd spent years studying his greed and short-sightedness. As night fell, I created a new folder named Set Sail. I was taking everything that was mine, leaving Chuanke an empty shell. On my 5th day of freedom, Mr. Chen, Huasheng's procurement director, invited me out for tea. He was a sharp guy and my most valued partner at Chuanke. In the quiet tea room, he looked at me with knowing eyes. Chen, your departure crippled Chuanke. Zhang Wei dragged his team here yesterday and couldn't even present a basic pitch. Lina only knows how to sweet talk. Sorry you had to deal with that, Mr. Chen. Not my problem anymore. He leaned in, turning serious. Huasheng trusts you. Without you, we won't leave this project with Chuangke. Our legal team is already terminating the contract. I took a sip. I wasn't surprised. Everything was going exactly as planned. Chen, why not start your own firm? If you build a startup, I'll be your very first client. It was a massive promise, but the timing wasn't right yet. Zhang Wei had to hit rock bottom first. Thank you, Mr. Chen. I want to clear my head and map out some systems first. You'll be my first call when I'm ready. Leaving the tea room, I looked back at the glowing skyline. I had a grand plan. I wasn't going to work for someone else, but build an empire that actually respects talent and technology. Back at Chuanka, tension was boiling over. Even from a distance, I could tell those overpaid slackers were already pointing fingers. As the nominal lead, Li Na quickly became target number one. Sister Li, you signed off on this. The logic is broken, and we're stuck. So what? I gave you Chen's documentation, didn't I? You elite grads can't even read a self-taught guy's code. These fights happen daily. Zhang Wei hid in his office, terrified to face it. He thought promoting Li Na would stabilize things, but she only knew office politics, not tech crises. Now, he sat staring at several harsh demand letters. Huasheng was terminating their contract. Other partners were hesitating, and his hard-earned reputation was crumbling. Staring blankly at the harsh legal threats on the desk, Huasheng is pulling out, and two other core partners are waiting to see. The reputation he built over years of hard work, it was collapsing fast because I left. Li Na, you said we'd be fine without Chen Qing. Now, how do we fix this? Li Na stood there, head down, her usual arrogance completely gone. Zhang Wei realized that I, the guy he used to mock, was his only lifesaver. Mr. Zhang, what if we accuse him of stealing trade secrets? That'll force him to return and hand over the core code. Zhang Wei looked up, a flash of malice in his eyes, drowned out by helplessness. He knew if he did this, there was no going back. Meanwhile, I sat at home, watching Chuangke's stock crash to the bottom. 7 days since I quit, and my first official week of freedom. My study was spotless, walls covered in my new project's blueprints. This week, I ignored 3 headhunters and bypassed dozens of desperate texts from Zhang Wei. I was waiting for the perfect strike to bury Chuangke for good. Then my phone buzzed with an urgent voice note from Mr. Chen. Chen, Zhang Wei is out of his mind. He just announced online that you stole core tech and he's blacklisting you. Blacklisting me? He must have forgotten who actually holds the original patent drafts. Calmly, I opened an encrypted folder on my desktop. Inside was my R&D log, started during my very first year. Every single tech breakthrough had detailed timestamps and original code. Calmly, I opened the encrypted folder. Inside was my R&D log from day one. Every single tech breakthrough was documented with timestamps and original source code. If Zhang Wei wants a legal war, I'll give him one. That afternoon, I arrived at a downtown incubator. Mr. Chen had already secured my space. It was small, but plenty for my first step. Starting today, this is Qinglen Tech. I stood by the window, watching the bustling streets. I knew his blacklist would soon become a joke. Once the clients Chuangke burned see me launching this new venture, they'll make the smart choice. Meanwhile, Chuangke was enjoying its final, delusional high. Zhang Wei and Li Na thought they had me cornered. Blind to the grave I dug for them. Zhang Wei's blacklist spread through the industry like wildfire. I sat at my new desk, scrolling through polite rejection texts from a few headhunters. I wasn't bothered. Their words were polite, but the message was clear. Zhang Wei warned everyone that hiring me meant declaring war on Chuangke and their corporate allies. I expected these childish tactics. I locked my phone and went back to mapping out my new system's core architecture. A soft knock sounded at the door. It was Xiao Wang, my former junior. Chen, I quit. Zhang demanded we crack your encryption logic. He threatened to dock everyone's pay if we failed. I couldn't take it. Good decision. Did you get your exit paperwork? Did he give you trouble? Xiao Wang shook his head, his eyes slightly red. Everyone's terrified. Li Na is hunting down anyone still talking to you just to shift blame. Chen, if you need help, I'll work for free just to join you. A wave of warmth hit me. Zhang Wei thought power could block my path, but forgot you can't buy loyalty with fear. You'll get paid, Wang, and it'll be a raise. But first, let's handle this blacklist. I logged into an old tech forum. There, I wasn't just some developer. I was an industry authority with thousands of loyal followers. Zhang Wei wanted to ruin me in our industry. I was about to show him what a real wipeout looks like. 10 days in, Li Na unexpectedly called me. Her voice was shockingly polite, asking to meet so she could apologize. I knew it was a trap, but I went anyway. I wanted to see what new games she was playing for Jiang Wei. In the private dining room, she was dressed to impress, surrounding a lavish feast. She immediately tried to grab my arm. Chen, I was out of line before. Jiang said if you license the system to us, our old partnership is back on immediately. Plus, we'll pay you a consulting fee. Do you even believe that, Li Na? The core keys are my intellectual property. The contract says so. Her smile froze, and her eyes turned instantly cold. She glared at me, then reached into her designer bag, pulling out a voice recorder, and slammed it onto the table. Don't do this the hard way, Chen. We have experts. Reject us, and we sue you for malicious damage. For planting a virus that crashed our system. I have your confession right here. I looked at her smug, arrogant face and laughed. It was hilarious. She didn't know my phone had been streaming live video to the cloud since I walked in. Perfect. Let's let the judge hear how you tried to extort my personal IP. I stood up, ignoring the expensive food. Li Na shrieked behind me as I walked out, already planning how to use this extortion attempt as a massive legal weapon against Chuanke. Meanwhile, I caught wind of their next desperate move. They were bidding on the city's key smart project, their absolute last hope. Jiang Wei went all in, illegally copy-pasting my research into their bid. Xiao Wang looked at me nervously from his desk. Chen, if they repackage your system and submit it under their name, how do we prove it's ours? It'll be hard to prove. Don't worry. I left a little surprise in that architecture. A hidden logic trap that only I can activate. Once the system scales up without my digital signature, a massive copyright violation warning pops up. Jiang Wei thought stealing my code solved everything. It was actually his funeral. On pitch day, I sat quietly in the back as an advisor for a rival company. Jiang Wei stood on stage confidently, presenting, while Li Na cheered. This is Chuanke's proprietary engine, boasting unmatched stability. The exact second he clicked the stress test button, the smooth system froze. Then, a massive warning popped up across the main screen. This architecture belongs solely to Chen Qing. Unauthorized use is illegal. The room went wild. Jiang Wei's face turned from red to pale, then to a sick green. He furiously hammered the keyboard, but the system was completely bricked. I sat in the dim corner, watched him disintegrate, and quietly closed my laptop as the scandal erupted. Chuanke's reputation crashed to the bottom. Partners rushed to cancel their contracts. Word has it that Jiang Wei smashed his office to pieces. He smashed everything in sight, even slapping Li Na. Chuanke is no longer just losing money, it is collapsing. My tech department colleagues are resigning en masse. Even Jiang Wei's promise of double pay could not keep them. Right after finishing a new contract this afternoon, I saw some familiar faces standing at the door. They were from Chuanke core technical engineers whom Li Na had desperately tried to win over. Brother Chen, they said, we want to join you. We were foolish, blinded by Jiang Wei's tiny bonuses. I welcome talent, but rules come first. In my company, skills do the talking. We do not do brown-nosing or flattery. I set up their onboarding. This was more than just hiring a few engineers, it was completely ripping out Chuanke's roots. Jiang Wei had nothing left except a few decrepit servers. That night, President Chen called me, his voice full of excitement. Young Chen, you did a brilliant job. Jiang Wei is pulling strings to suppress the copyright case. But city investigators have already entered Chuanke. This time cannot escape prison. He deserves this, President Chen. I said our project can officially launch now. I hung up the phone, looking at the glittering city lights. My era is fast approaching, and Jiang Wei's death knell has finally tolled. Chuanke Network is now a total empty shell. The bustling office is deserted and ruined. Jiang Wei locked himself inside, hiding all day. Li Na vanished too. Word is she took the remaining cash and fled abroad. But men like Jiang Wei, when facing total ruin, will lash out in madness. Late tonight, right after parking, a dark figure lunged from behind a pillar. In the dim light, I saw that twisted face. It was Jiang Wei. Clutching a folding knife, his eyes screamed madness. Chen Qing, why drive me to the edge? I will give you cash. Shares. Why won't you let me go? Jiang Wei, you ruined Chuanke. From the moment you cut bonuses and manipulated people, your end was written. I did not step back, but stared calmly into his eyes. Showing fear now would only trigger his violent rage. I have no way out. If I cannot live, neither will you. He charged. I sidestepped, grabbing his wrist. My years of fitness saved me. I twisted hard, dropping his knife. Suddenly, police sirens echoed from the garage entrance. Turns out, I had my emergency alarm running. As police pinned him down, Howling like a beast, I said. Your biggest regret shouldn't be my stolen bonus, but that you never respected anyone. As the police left, I grabbed my keys and took the elevator. The storm had passed. Tomorrow is when Chinglin Technology becomes Chinglin Group. The day after his arrest, I returned to this familiar office. Only this time, I was not an employee. I was a creditor and a potential buyer. The office was trashed like a typhoon hit, papers everywhere. Those once arrogant managers sat dejectedly, their eyes blank with confusion. I walked into Zhang Wei's office. The mahogany desk remained, but its owner was now behind bars. Court staff were sealing the accounts. President Chen, after checking the books, Chuanke is swimming in debt. Do you really want this mess? I only want their servers and patents, I replied. The debt is Zhang Wei's personal problem. Turning around, I noticed a few remaining staff peeking inside. Some once mocked my docked bonuses. Now, they stared with pleading, desperate eyes. I looked back at those remaining employees peeking through the cracks. Once they laughed when I got robbed. Now they looked with begging eyes. Want to stay? Re-interview with Xiao Wang. Getting bonuses through flattery is over. At Chinglin Technology, seeing their ashamed yet relieved faces brought me no joy. This industry is brutal without value, even dignity is a luxury. Looking down at the busy streets, I knew Chuanka's sign would vanish soon. But this is just my first step. Within Zhang Wei's mess hid a massive secret. The data Lina stole was far more complex than expected. After taking the servers, Xiao Wang and I pulled 2 all-nighters. We found Lina had not only stolen cash but used admin rights to wipe the backups. Worse, she took an unfinished military encryption draft. Brother Chen, though you wrote it, if she sells it, they could sue us for patent infringement. Relax, Xiao Wang. She cannot run. For that encryption level, only I can provide the full decryption code. That USB drive is a ticking time bomb. Staring at the screen, I mapped out where she might flee. Someone as incredibly vain as her would never live a quiet, poor life. A vain woman like her would never hide and suffer. Just then, an anonymous email hit my inbox. The attached casino photo showed a glamorous Li Na, but the man sitting opposite her made me frown. It was Zhao, a notorious data broker rich off corporate secrets. She had already found her buyer. While Zhang Wei was jailed, Li Na was selling out. A perfect match. I did not rush to call police, knowing an old fox like Zhao won't pay without seeing real value. I messaged him. It has a back door. Do not touch it. I am waiting for them to crawl back to me. This was more than recovering data, it was about cleaning up our industry. The next day, Zhao indeed panicked. He invited me to a private riverside club, insisting I come alone. I arrived. In the smoky room, Zhao smiled like a fat Buddha. Li Na sat beside him, pale. President Chen, you are impressive. Even shrewd Zhang Wei fell at your feet, Zhao. Let's be blunt. You cannot handle what Li Na holds. She jumped up, screaming, Chen Qing, stop playing tricks. Zhao had experts review it. With minor tweaks, it is commercial. You will be left behind. Experts, you mean programmers who cannot handle basic multi-threading? Experts? You mean those third-rate coders who fail at concurrency, Zhao? Go ahead and run the protocol's third module. See if your server fries. Zhao's face dropped. Ever the paranoid businessman, he quickly gestured for his assistant to open the laptop. As the laptop booted the program, red warning lights flashed wildly on screen. What is going on? Shut it down. That is a logic lock. Without my dynamic authorization, any forced bypass triggers self-deletion. I watched Lena slump into her chair, eyes vacant. Her final card was paper-thin against me. Zhao, a ruthless businessman, knew exactly when to cut losses. He backhanded Lena across the face. His voice was freezing. Zhao's strike was hard, swelling Lena's face instantly, clutching her cheek in silence. Her eyes were filled with, men like Zhao turn on you instantly. To him, Lena went from cash cow to ticking time bomb. Mr. Chen, this is a misunderstanding. A total misunderstanding. She lied, claiming it was her original work. The files, leave the files. The law will handle her. I hear you've been sniffing around the Smart City project. Zhao, an old fox, immediately caught my warning. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he nodded frantically. No more asking. Absolutely not. With you here, Mr. Chen, our little company wouldn't dare. I took back the USB drive containing the raw data and dialed the police right under his nose. Hearing the sirens, Lena collapsed like a wet rag. She tried grabbing my leg to beg, but I stepped back coldly. Mr. Chen, I really made a mistake. I'll return the money. Just don't send me to jail. Lena, when you decided to steal our core data, assets, you should have expected this. Watching her get loaded into the squad car, my last worry vanished. But Zhao was only the first hurdle. The massive capital backing him wouldn't let a disruptor like me grow unchecked. On my way back, Chen called, worry dripping from his voice. He warned me that industry titan Tiansheng Group was courting our partners, likely planning a buyout. I had barely finished dealing with Lina and Zhao. Before I could even catch my breath, Tiansheng's acquisition offer landed on my desk. They were an industry titan, famous for buying out rivals or crushing them. Sitting across from me was Tiansheng's investment director, a woman with razor-sharp eyes. Mr. Chen, she began. 200 million cash plus 3% options. This offer is enough to set your entire team up for life. Sounds tempting. What if I refuse? She adjusted her glasses, her tone turning dangerous. Then we will squeeze you out of this industry. Your entire supply chain, upstream and downstream, will suddenly face massive force majeure disruptions. Don't ruin your career over silly ideals, Mr. Chen. I looked at the acquisition offer, laughing silently. It sounded exactly like the threats I used to get. Tiansheng just had deeper pockets. But I was not about to be bullied. Tell your boss we are not for sale. We'll fight this in court or in the market. The director stormed out. Looking worried, Wang came in to check on me. I booted up my laptop, opening the second-generation cloud engine I had been secretly coding to target Tiansheng. If they dare to use underhanded technical blockades to choke my startup, I'll show them what a real software revolution looks like. They will learn what a real disruption means. Tiansheng's retaliation hit sooner than expected. At 11 p.m., I was still at my desk. Wang rushed in, clutching a stack of freshly printed faxes, his face completely pale. We have a major problem, Chen. Our 3 main server suppliers just canceled. They are delaying all of our orders indefinitely, citing production line shifts. An indefinite delay is just a total cutoff. Tiansheng was trying to choke our hardware access first. I walked to the window, staring down at the empty street below as the reality set in. They even pressured major cloud platforms, trying to ban my products from every single app store. They wanted to isolate my startup, leaving us with great tech but no way to deploy. Fast move, Tiansheng. Wang, notify the team. We are working remotely tomorrow. Move all testing servers offline. I stared at the list of betrayers on my screen, unfazed. I felt the calm of a hunter watching prey enter a trap. They think money can buy monopolized supply chains, but hardware is just a vessel. They forgot that in this digital age, data is king, and physical servers are just containers. But without those servers, we can't test our new engine. Who said we needed their physical hardware? Since they want to play dirty, let's go. 3 years ago, I built a secret backup protocol for this exact crisis. I had already dug a deep well. With their blockade in place, everyone was waiting for me to fail. Next morning, I walked into Huasheng. Chen was staring out his office window, frowning. On his desk lay a partnership proposal Tiansheng had sent him. They wanted to see me fail. But here I was, looking at the very offer designed to buy my partner out from under me. Chen, Tiansheng reached out to me. They promised that if we terminate our contract with you, they'll cut our infrastructure fees in half for 5 years. Their cash is easy to take, Chen, but their chains are impossible to break. Once you migrate to their cloud, future pricing won't be in your hands. He turned, holding my gaze. He was a businessman, yes, but a visionary one, weighing short-term profits against a future we could control. He was choosing between a quick payout and a game-changing future. Chen, he finally spoke. What is your? Be honest with me. Tiansheng cut off your hardware. How will you fight them? I do not need their hardware, President Chen. There are over 3,000 branches nationwide, each with idle computing power. Just give me the green light. I can piece these fragments into a computing network more powerful than Tiansheng's. President Yu's eyes lit up. He knew this meant more than just saving money. It meant freeing Huasheng from their dependence on the giants. He slammed the desk, tearing Tiansheng's proposal to shreds. Haha, brilliant. I will take this bet. I am opening all of Huasheng's nodes to you. Walking out of the building, I took a deep breath. Tiansheng thought they blocked the ocean, unaware that I had already gathered into countless streams right under their noses. Just as Huasheng and I sealed our secret deal, Tiansheng attacked in the media. A flood of hit pieces suddenly appeared online, claiming our system had major security vulnerabilities and that we were illegally collecting user data. Brother Chen, this is pure slander. Our code is open source and fully audited. How could we possibly harvest user data? They do not care about the truth, only about planting doubt. Once those seeds are sown, our new product launch will grind to a halt. I stared at the so-called expert analyses, which were packed with lies and distortions of our technology. Several clients who were ready to sign even began backing away. Tiansheng's smear campaign is a masterclass in reputation destruction. Hearing about our clients backing off makes it clear they know exactly how to strike where it hurts. It is a beautifully played strategy. But if they want a media war, we will give them a massive surprise. Xiao Wang. Upload our second-generation engine security report directly to the world's top hacking competition website. I am launching a public $1 million bounty, inviting the best experts to try and breach Qinglan's firewall. It is the ultimate payback to their rumors and the most hardcore advertisement possible. The tech community exploded, and Tiansheng's paid trolls instantly went silent. Against pure technical dominance, rumors are completely worthless. But while everyone else was focused on this contest, I was monitoring a different set of data: the user churn rate of Tiansheng's core products. Thanks to the compatibility patch I built into our second-generation engine, Tiansheng's internal leadership is starting to fracture. During their 2-week block on Qinglan Tech, Tiansheng failed to crush us, instead stalling their own core business by overextending their resources. That was when my inside contact at Tiansheng messaged me. Their investment and tech directors were in a screaming match, shouting, "How many resources did we waste just to block a tiny startup? Now, Huaxing has stayed and even taken key clients with them. That is your tech department's failure. If you cannot block a tiny startup's computing network, you have no right to demand a budget." This chaos is exactly what I wanted. Giants do not fear external rivals. They fear internal collapse. I sat in front of my computer watching Tiansheng's stock chart plummet, carefully calculating the perfect moment to pull the net and finish this. Watching that downward curve, I planned my final move. Xiao Wang, are you ready? Tonight at 8 p.m., our second-generation engine officially goes live on Huaxing's computing network for global public beta. This is a massive gamble. Success means breaking their monopoly. Failure means facing Tiansheng's brutal retaliation. At exactly 8 o'clock, I hit enter. Countless nodes lit up across the map on my screen as Huaxing's nationwide network roared to life. It formed an overwhelming torrent of computing power. It is time to tell the world. The rules are changing. Right as the beta went live, Tiansheng's headquarters fell into a deathly silence. To their horror, they realized their proud defense system was completely paper-thin against Qinglan's new architecture and totally fragile. 3 days after our massive success, the industry winds shifted completely. The suppliers who used to avoid me, like the plague, were now lining up outside my office. I ignored them all, choosing instead to attend an exclusive, closed-door gala for industry leaders. Tiansheng's chairman was there in person. When he looked at me, his old arrogance was gone, replaced by grudging respect and a flicker of deep anxiety. "Mr. Chen, the new generation always surpasses the old. My team was foolish before. Why don't we sit down and discuss a deep partnership? Cooperation is possible, but Tiansheng must first issue a public apology and compensate us for our brand damage." His face twitched. It was a humiliating public slap in the face, but looking at the crowd of partners circling around me, he knew he had zero leverage left. "Of course, you can refuse. But I hear several of your core technical staff are highly interested in our new architecture and have already applied to work for me. I am not just taking his clients, I am tearing up his roots. I accept." I raised my glass and took a sip. We won this round, but I knew this was just the beginning of a much larger game. Their surrender is temporary. In the shadows, a far greater force is quietly eyeing Qinglan Tech like a piece of meat. I walked out of the hall. The night wind was cool. My phone buzzed with an unknown number. Just 3 words. "Watch your back." The noise of the party still, ringing in my ears. Staring at the warning message, my finger hovered over the screen. The number was routed through multiple virtual relays, making it completely untraceable. I walked to the window and pulled back the heavy curtains. Watching the headlights below, I felt for the first time that someone was watching me from the shadows. Hidden eyes were spying on me. I kept it from Xiao Wang to spare him the anxiety. Opening my laptop, I pulled up Tiansheng's ownership records from the last 3 years. Tiansheng is a giant, but its backing capital structure is incredibly complex, with offshore funds lurking in the shadows. Zhang Wei, Lina, President Zhao, they are all just pawns. Tiansheng's aggressive move to destroy me was never about simple market share. They are after something much deeper. There is a far deeper motive at play. As I sat reflecting, an alert popped up in my inbox from our second-generation engine backend. Someone was attempting to scrape Huaxing's node data on a massive scale using a totally unfamiliar protocol. This was not Tiansheng's style. This attack looked more like a professional overseas team. I quickly hit the keys, raising multiple dynamic firewalls. It seems my sudden rise. I hadn't just messed with Tiansheng's profits. I had rattled the shadow giants pulling the industry's strings. That warning text wasn't a prank. It was a late warning. The next morning, Tiansheng Group's official apology arrived right on schedule, dominating the front pages of every major industry site. The apology was pinned to the top of every major site. Written in a deeply sincere tone, it blamed the entire ban on a few rogue executives acting alone. At the same time, millions in compensation hit our company account. Brother Chen, quick, look at this. Everyone is calling us the Dragon Slayers. Tiansheng is completely finished. Finished? Wang, never underestimate a tech giant's patience. Their surrender now is just to buy time to breathe. Sure enough, as the entire industry cheered for us, I received a strange invitation. An offshore firm called Aurora Capital invited me to a closed-door summit about future computing power standards. I received a strange invitation from an offshore firm named Aurora Capital, asking me to a closed-door summit on computing standards. I did some digging. Their background is incredibly deep, with fingers in almost every global giant. I had a gut feeling that the person who texted me was in this very circle. Wang, book me a flight to Haicheng. Since they went to the trouble of setting the stage, it would be cowardly of me not to put on a show. Before leaving, I paid a visit to the detention center to see Zhang Wei, the man who first tried to brush me off with 6,800 yuan. Right now, he was probably the only person who could tell me who was truly pulling Tiansheng's strings. Behind the thick, bulletproof glass, Zhang Wei looked completely emaciated in his prison uniform. The cunning was gone from his eyes, replaced by a hollow, dead stillness. When he saw me, a twisted smile crept onto his lips. Chen Qing, you actually came. Are you here to mock me, or to ask that question? What do you think, Zhang Wei? Chuangke was only the beginning. Even Tiansheng is just a front. Who is really behind you? Zhang Wei fell silent, his finger tracing mindless patterns on the table. He leaned close to the phone and lowered his voice, as if terrified of waking some sleeping monster. He whispered into the receiver, speaking of a forbidden subject. I don't know their names. I only know they go by the invaders. They give money, resources, all for one goal: to wipe out any tech pioneer who refuses to fall in line. My heart sank. His words sounded wild, but the terror in his eyes was real. That fear was genuine. Run, Chen Qing. The bigger your name gets, the harder they will hunt you. What about Li Na? She didn't run. She went to collect her bounty, and her next orders. Stepping outside, the harsh sunlight forced my eyes shut. Zhang Wei's words weighed heavily on my chest. Li Na was still in play, backed by a monster. This war was no longer about market share. It had become a hunt for survival. Arriving in Haicheng, the air smelled of salt. Aurora Capital's closed-door summit was on the hotel's top floor. Fewer than 10 people attended. As I walked in, every eye in the room locked onto me. In the center sat a blond man speaking fluent Chinese. Mr. Chen, your second-generation engine is remarkable, but surely you understand that technology of this level should not be held by a private firm. Then who should own it? Aurora Capital? The director smiled and slid a document over. It wasn't an acquisition offer, but a custody agreement demanding we upload our core code to Aurora's designated servers, leaving them in charge of global distribution and security. How is this any different from highway robbery? It was outright theft. Right then, the side door swung open, and a familiar figure stepped out. Li Na. Wearing a sharp suit, her eyes gleamed with vengeful satisfaction. Chen Qing, do not push your luck. What Aurora Capital can offer you is something Tiansheng could never provide in a lifetime. If you refuse, we will blackball your company globally tomorrow for endangering national data security. I looked at Li Na and felt no anger, only a strange sense of closure. So this was my real opponent. I didn't reject them immediately, or their executive. Instead, I asked for time to think and stepped onto the terrace. The city lights were dazzling, but beneath that glow, countless attacks against us were already being launched. I pulled out my phone and called my partner. The plan is moving up. Aurora is making their move. They want our core code. Are you absolutely sure about this, Chen? Once we pull this trigger, there is no turning back. I would rather flip the table than let them slowly choke us to death. I hung up and typed a complex string of commands into my phone. This was the Trojan horse I had custom built for Aurora Capital. They wanted our code? I would give them a masterpiece that looked flawless, but would completely paralyze their global network. A parting gift. Li Na approached from behind, her high heels clicking sharply against the quiet terrace floor. Have you decided, Chen Qing? Is this your final answer? I have, Li Na. Do me a favor and tell your new boss. the things belonging to Qinglan. They cannot steal, and they certainly cannot stomach. Right in front of her, I tore the agreement to shreds and threw them into the ocean. Her face twisted with pure rage. And I knew the real storm would arrive tomorrow morning. Aurora Capital hit back harder than I ever expected. Before dawn, every major global app store pulled our software simultaneously under the guise of fake security risks. The office phones rang off the hook. Terrified by this global superpower, our wavering partners quickly sent in their contract termination letters. Brother Chen, all our overseas servers are down. Our second-gen engine is being framed as spyware. Now the whole world is boycotting us. What do we do? Don't panic, I said. The higher they climb, the harder they fall. I told them, the higher they jump, the harder they'll fall. Xiao Wang, launch Project Dawn. Send our open source audit report to the Global Tech Alliance. Sitting at the console, watching the screens flash red, I saw Li Na on TV. My former executive was publicly accusing me of stealing our technology. Her sanctimonious act fooled the clueless public. She thought she owned the narrative, but she had no idea that. Against cold, hard logic, lies popped like bubbles. I typed the final command, activating the hidden backdoor nodes inside Aurora Capital. They wanted my code, right? Now they're busy in their lab, cracking the exact trap I laid for them. I typed the final command to activate the monitoring nodes inside Aurora Capital. They wanted my proprietary code. Now they're frantically trying to crack the trap I laid. Outside the window, the first ray of morning light hit my office. It was time to strike back. This wasn't just about saving Qinglan Tech. It was to prove tech isn't a plaything for greedy corporate giants. Over in Aurora's lab, their top hackers were celebrating. They actually thought they'd bypassed my firewall and stolen the core algorithm of our second-generation engine. Li Na stood there, smug, already imagining me begging for mercy. Chen Qing is still too naive, she sneered. Merge this code into our global financial settlement system. Starting today, we rewrite the rules of global computing power. The second they hit merge, the monitors in my office exploded with dense, cascading lines of golden code. Just as they pressed that button, my office. Monitors flashed with golden characters. I raised my coffee cup and whispered, countdown. 3, 2, no. In an instant, Aurora's entire global network locked into an infinite loop. Hidden deep in that code was a logic bomb. It didn't destroy their data. Instead, it acted like a giant mirror, exposing years of Aurora's market manipulation and illegal profits, and broadcasting it live to every major news outlet worldwide. What's happening? Why can't I shut this down? Pull the plug, cut the power. But the transmission was unstoppable, broadcasting all their dirty transactions and market manipulation, straight to the headlines of global media. What's happening? I can't close it. It's completely out of control. It was useless. It was a forced broadcast powered by decentralized computing. Unless they unplugged the entire global internet, nothing could stop the truth. Watching those filthy transaction records, the world fell silent. In an instant, the campaign to destroy my company turned into a global trial of Aurora Capital. Aurora Capital crumbled. Faced with ironclad evidence, international investigators moved in, and their executives fled the country. Meanwhile, Li Na, the woman who betrayed me twice to crush me, under her feet, was now desperately hauling a heavy suitcase. The very woman who plotted my downfall was running for her life with a heavy, leather case through a torrential downpour, frantically searching the docks for a getaway boat. I stood there waiting, holding a black umbrella at the pier's only exit. Rainwater dripped down, the fabric, washing away the filth of this city. Chen Qing, please spare me. I was forced into this. It was Zhongwei. Aurora Capital forced my hand. Look, I have money. This case is full of cash. It's all yours. Li Na, you still don't get it. Some things money can't buy back, like your conscience or your lost dignity. Police sirens wailed in the distance. She collapsed in the mud, her suitcase spilling stacks of soaked, worthless cash. It was pathetic and ironic. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with absolute terror and regret. There she sat in the mud, surrounded by her ruined money, looking utterly ridiculous. In her eyes, I finally saw pure terror and regret. If only. If I hadn't messed with that year-end bonus list, would everything be different? There are no do-overs. When you chose to steal my hard work for 150,000 yuan, your fate was sealed. As the police led her away, I closed my umbrella and walked to the waiting car. Mr. Chen gave me a huge thumbs up, signaling the end of our months-long nightmare. A month later, We rebranded as Qinglan Group. The suppliers who once tried to freeze us out were now begging for forgiveness. Major competitors offered us their core divisions just to partner up, and Huasheng became our strongest ally. The industry association even rewrote their bylaws, putting intellectual property and fair compensation on the very first page. Standing atop our brand new headquarters, looking down at thousands of cheering employees, my mind was surprisingly calm. "You didn't just win a business war," Mr. Chen said. "You changed an entire industry. You make the rules now." I just wanted everyone who works as hard as I did to get the bonus they earned. Xiao Wang rushed over, excitedly handing me our latest financial report. He was beaming. "Brother Chen, the holiday bonuses are finalized. The absolute minimum is 150,000 yuan. Great. Let them know that as long as I'm in charge, no hard worker will ever be left behind." Sunlight filled my office. On the wall hung a framed screenshot of my first 6,800 yuan transfer, my beginning and my permanent anchor. In the end, I found myself right back where it all started. Same hotel, same private room, even the same food on the table. Only this time, I sat at the head of the table. Surrounding me were 100 of the industry's most powerful executives, all laughing and talking. None of the old tension remained. Mr. Chen raised his glass, his face glowing with pride. Everyone was sharing stories, completely free of the awkwardness of the past. Mr. Chen raised his glass to me. "So Chen, about our $10 billion computing center next year, we are counting on you. Do not worry, everyone. As long as I, Chen Qing, am here, your business is my business." After 3 rounds of drinks, I excused myself and walked out to the hotel balcony. A cool breeze was blowing, and the city neon glowed. I pulled out my phone and opened a long-abandoned group chat. The old faces were gone, with no sign of Na and Zhang Wei. In their place was a crowd of energetic young people, excitedly flooding the screen, debating the New Year's tech breakthroughs. I shut off my screen and took a deep breath of fresh air. From a low-level worker getting a 6,800 yuan year-end bonus, to the industry leader pulling all the strings, it has been a long road. I have seen it all. I turned and strode back toward the bustling banquet hall. The moment I pushed the doors open, the lights flared bright, and thunderous applause erupted.